Hello and welcome. In this we're going to take a look at this Circutmess JAY-D kit. I'm really hoping that this kit goes together properly. So let's have a look what's in the box. I'm also I've got a different lens on my camera today and some different settings, so I'm hoping that this will look a lot better for you. So what's in the box? Okay, we've got a creator's booklet. A few little things here, look. What's in the kit? Bit of a description of what the various parts do, bit about amplifiers and sound wave, so it's quite interesting. Oh, it tells you about the DAC and where the DAC is on here. It's got this little all-in-one processor on it again. So yeah, let's have a look at that. Leaflet telling us about where to find the instructions, www.circutmess.com. Build instructions are on there apparently, and a lot of the other kits have got downloadable PDFs, which is really useful. So in here we've got a micro SD card, what looks like a USB to SD, various parts, a screen, lots of other parts. So let's pop these out of here, pop the screen out of here, USB 3 cable, a couple of speakers, plastics, and the main board. So there we go. So we've got little processor, it's all in one computer basically. Memory, processor, storage is all under there. I'm guessing that's the DAC, according to the what things pointing at. Speaker outputs, there's card reader, some LEDs. They're going to do various different things. So that's the front of the board. That's the back. Lots of very nice solder tabs again. Very very typical for Circutmess. I've been very impressed with the solder tags so far. Here is the plastics. There seems to be a case that we're going to build for it. 2 speakers. Quite a few knobs for rotary controllers. Total of 7 of them. I'll just set them over there. A couple of small loudspeakers, apparently 5 watts a piece. So I think what we're going to do next is we will unpack these packs here and have a look, see what's inside them. So we've got a card reader to allow you to put the card into your computer. I'm assuming to put music on. Some rotary encoders. Yep. A momentary button. A couple of momentary buttons. So what's left in there at the moment is some screws. Let's have a look in the other one. Some sliders. 3 of them. Headphone socket. A link to connect the screen. 3 slide controllers. Now, one of the other kits I've just built, the slide controllers, the sliders didn't fit onto the knobs. This one does. Really, I'm cool. That's good. Okay, so I think a lot of this is very self-explanatory. I'm looking at this. This is going to go there. It can only go there. Potentiometers have got one hole at one end and two at the other, so they can go and only go one way. And even these rotary encoders can only go in one place. So I think what I'm going to do is just start and build this up. So I'm starting off by just putting some rotary encoders in. I'll apologise about the background noise. It is blowing up an absolute storm here today. Okay, we're going to buttons. The buttons, again, will only actually go into place in one way, one direction. You can probably force them in the other direction, but they're not going to go in easily. Okay. These are going in quite well behaved. Absolutely no issues. As a lot with a lot of my other videos I've done on these. At this point in time, I have not looked at the instructions. They don't ship with instructions, so you know what? I take it as a challenge to try and assemble them without. So we'll flip this over and put some solder on this lot. My only observation with this one is just that the solder mask is a little bit overwhelming, but soldering nice. I'm just going to increase my iron temperature. I've just gone up to 350C. I am using leaded solder because it's what I'm used to. I'm going to come back and solder them on in a minute because I need to turn the heat up a little bit. So 350 seems to be soldering these joints quite nicely. Incidentally, these kits have not been donated, they've been paid for by myself. Okay. Okay. Just trying to get a little bit of heat onto each of these and get the solder to flow. Now, you can do this with a cooler iron, but what tends to happen with the iron when it's cooler is you get more heat into the board because you end up having to hold the iron on the work a little bit longer. I'm going to take a second break because my iron's cooling down here. There we go. It catches up quite quickly. It's about a 70-watt iron or something like that, so it's quite good in itself. Okay, so I'm going to put the central rotary encoder in now. Here we go. That's into one going. Okay, let's do the outers. Just wait for this iron to heat up. Now, because there's a reasonable amount of metal here, what I've done, I've took my iron up to 450C so that it can dump the heat into the into the point where it needs soldering and still get a good joint. Okay, get these ones here. I don't think these have any electrical reason for being, but they hold the controllers into the board. So you want to make sure you get a good joint on them because it just holds everything together. Okay, there we go. Turn that back down. Okay, so that is 2 switches, 7 rotary encoders. So the next thing I think we'll put on is I want to put the socket on, because I'm thinking if I put this potentiometer on here, the socket could be difficult for me to get to the headphone socket. So again, this is only going to go one way sensibly, because if it went any other way, you wouldn't be able to plug a cable in. So I'm just going to rest that on my finger, and I'm going to do the outline joints first. Again, nice and hot, 350C. I think sliders next. Off we go. Put them in. Again, this kit, incredibly self-explanatory. Legs are a little bit tight going in. Not a bad thing, because it means that when you turn it upside down, it's holding it in place for you. Now again, I'm only going to solder these at 350C because we're not soldering to big chunks of metal. Round here, one there. 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 Okay. Next thing to do then is to put this onto here, because that needs to go between the LCD display and board. And I'm no doubt if I read the instructions, it will turn around and say it needs to be square, it needs to be perpendicular. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to just solder the one end on, then I'm going to take a look and make sure that is square, as you can see it is, and then I'll solder the rest on. If it wasn't square, it would give me the opportunity to be able to adjust them. But once you've soldered all of these, you don't want to be trying to adjust. A little bit tight, but you know. Okay, solder. Okay, I'm not happy with that one joint. No. Okay, let's be tidy. So, how are we putting this together? That's the question of the day. I'm just having a little look to see what the offerings are for bolts. To see if there's 4 of these longer ones, and there's more than 4. Okay, there's 8 of the short ones. Four spacers. So, logic would suggest that that's how this is held together. I might eat my words and I might end up taking this apart again, but let's see. So I'm just going to put these little spacers on here. I'm not 100% convinced, because when you do this, there's no spacing left there for the screws. That can't be right. So that won't work. The only way this can work is to use these longer screws and put nuts on the far side. So we'll give that a go. Let's get rid of these. Okay, let's try this. Let's see how this looks. So I'm just going to spin these onto here. Just give them a little nip up. There's a reasonable amount of bolt protruding, so I reckon that we're onto something here. Okay. Let's see what we get. Okay. Number 4. Retrieve the board. And that has just gone straight into place. Pins have gone through, and the nuts are showing through, the bolts are showing through on the back side, just enough to nice and neatly get these nuts on. I'm wondering if I've got anything around to tighten them up with. I have. Okay. Just going to give them a tighten. I've just tightened them up, so the final bit of soldering on this, from what I can see, is to solder the screen into place. Start at one end. I do tend to move around and not solder adjacent ones, just to try and reduce the heat build-up in the board. Okay, let's turn that off. So there we have it assembled. So what we'll do next is we'll put this down onto the bottom, readjust the camera, and we'll turn it on. Okay, so I've got some power to it, and as you can see, it's wanting us to do a test of everything. Okay, we've done that, but nothing more is going on. So I assume it needs this card in it. There's no information on this card about what it is, so I'm just going to turn the power off to it, put the card in, and restart it. So we do the test again. Okay, it says all on. Press any key to exit. There we go. DJ, playback DJ settings. So it's looking for music. So there's some music on here. And you're going to see we go. Various different effects. There's the bass away there, look. And on the other side, we can take the treble away. It's just the bass on that side. The bass on that side. Bit of mix them both together. That's kind of how it works. So as you can see, that is functioning. Hopefully the music is not a problem for YouTube. What I'm going to do before going any further, because we've not tested it, is I'm just going to plug the audio speakers in and just make sure that these actually make some noise. Okay, turn them on. Now I've not got the yeah, okay, they're working. Right, so I think next up we need to do the case, put the case together. And I think I'm going to take the music off here that's on here, and I'm going to put something on here that's definitely YouTube friendly, and we will be back. We verified it works. Next job now is to put this casing on. So let's take this stuff off the outside of it. Now I've had a quick scout because I wanted to see how the case went together. I'll put these on before I put the case on, because I just think it make my life a little easier to put these on first. Okay, so we're going to put this onto here, and it's going to be held on by the 6 screws on the potentiometer. Okay, so 6 tiny little screws, only little ones, look. While I've also been away, I have put some music on the card that it will hopefully play. They have to be ACC format. So here we go, look. We'll just tighten these down. Then we can put the knobs on. Slightly more fiddly than the round knobs, but they go on. Interestingly, and we just put that onto there and tighten that down. The potentiometer doesn't want to move. So what's going on here? That one's okay, that one's not. So let's just loosen these off. So what's happening here? So now I put these on, I've got absolutely no adjustment afforded to me by the potentiometers. So I'm just going to take these screws out totally. So something's going on involving the screws. Ah, right, so when these were pulled away, when the screws are in, you can't actually put the potentiometers the full range, because the screws stick through the front of the potentiometer case and stop the sliders going all the way. So hopefully it will still accept that as a full range of movement. The screws are perhaps a fraction longer than they could be, but hey ho, one of them. Plus everything for the front has gone onto it. Wonderful. I'll get my remaining pieces. Just try and get this off here. Some of this stuff is absolutely evil to get off. And there's some on this side as well, just for protection. Just having a look to see if there's any non-symmetry in that, and is it symmetrical? Strangely enough, that one hasn't got any plastic cover on it. Don't know. Doesn't matter. So what I will say, I bought this from eBay, so it's possible somebody is opened that and took the covers off it and then decided not to build it, because I bought it unbuilt but open. So I don't think that is down to Circutmess not shipping it. I think it's the people I got it off. Okay. Instructions tell us to mount the speakers next. So there we go, look. Screw number 1. Doing the opposite first. I have screwed the speakers into here. Next thing I'm going to do is make this to one piece, so joining the two lengths together. That then makes it long enough to span there. Then we have 3 pieces of perspex, and we have this. So this is going to go on here like that, and it's going to give you your shelf. So what I'm going to do is put 1 bolt through here, screw that onto here. So we've got one side assembled. That will then allow us to place that in there, put that on the bench that way round. We've got to put the speakers in here, but before we do that we need to plug them in. So I'm going to just pick that up, so you can see, and just plug these speakers in. The line on the plug goes towards the top like this, and again the line on the top. So when you're looking at it from headphone jack, red, black, red, black. So okay, let's plug that back into here. Fold this wiring round neatly so that it goes inside, and that's going to sort of just sit into there. We've got a base piece here that's going to go in one way or the other. Does it go that way? Yeah, it's going to go that way because it gives the room for the speakers. End piece. Just going to convince it all to line up and fall into place. Okay, so I've just noticed something I've done here. I've not got that there lined up with my my bolt hole. So that's an interesting problem. Now how am I going to get around that? Come on, back together. So at the moment there, everything's gone into place apart from the bar. I'm just going to have a look and make sure, when I look at all the rest of the angles of it, that everything else is right, and it is. So it's just a little awkward by the looks of it. It's as if it's got a bit of flex in it. So I think what I'm going to try and do is get this to start here where it's sitting. Just get a turn on it, and then yeah, that's it. I can just sort of convince everything else to come together. Tighten that up, and put it back the right way around. We then have the card that I've just been and put a bit of music on. I've downloaded it off the YouTube library and then converted it to ACC. So let's have a little look-see. I want to check the speakers work, and then we'll plug everything else in. So I'm just going to start off just power it up. I just want to make sure the speakers are working. There they are. Okay, they work. So to get this to work properly, you have to have the audio in an exact format. That's 64 kbps, and that is 2400 kilohertz, 2400 hertz in mono. When you do that, it works. And here we go. Here's our 2 tracks. So what we can do here is we can set these to be a cut, so that one can take the treble off. Oh, that does something weird. Oh, it's an echo. So this one now will be a bass cut. We end up with a extremely tinny file. But it means then that you can mix tracks together, beat match them, and do various other things. But as a build, it works. It works absolutely perfectly. Once you set the files to the correct format, off it goes, and it's gone together without problems. So I've got to give Circutmess a gold star on this one. I'm really pleased with how it's gone together. It does what it says on the tin, and it's gone together correctly. So, you know, thumbs up. So I hope you enjoyed watching this. I hope this has given you some concept of how to build one of these and what they do. It's kind of a cool little device. I believe you can alter some of the programming on it as well and do some coding with it as usual with the Circutmess stuff. But definitely a fun build, and there's definitely hours and hours of fun to be had playing with this, mixing stuff together. It looks like there's a vocal remover of some description on there as well, but the music I've got off YouTube hasn't got vocals on, so we can't play with that. But yeah, thank you for watching. Do the whole subscribe thing for me if you don't mind, and have a look at some of the other videos. Have a good day. Thank you.